Welcome, everyone. We're diving into something really fascinating today. We're going to be looking at Freemasonry and the Law of One
Oh,
and
yeah.
seeing if we can find some surprising connections between them.
Yeah, that's interesting, right? Like on the one hand you have this tradition and ritual, and then on the other you have like this channeled wisdom.
Yeah,
But they both talk about things like symbolism and transformation, and the pursuit of truth.
exactly. And we've got some great source material to help us unpack all this. We've got a Masonic monitor right here, the Encyclopedia of Freemasonry,
Right.
and of course, the Law of One books.
Mm-hmm.
So, should we jump right in?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. So, right off the bat, the Masonic monitor kind of sets the stage with this emphasis on morality and virtue. It's like almost like a prerequisite to even enter the conversation.
Yeah, I'd
It
say.
lays out these laws for the government of the lodge, things like courteous behavior,
Mm-hmm.
mutual instruction and respect. It even like dictates how they address each other,
Mm-hmm.
brother or fellow. It's like creating a space for harmonious learning and growth.
What's fascinating to me is how this focus on ethics kind of mirrors the law of one's idea of service to others.
Yeah.
It's not just about being a good person, but about actively choosing actions that benefit others and contribute to a more harmonious existence.
Yeah, that's a great point. And to even become a candidate for Freemasonry, the monitor says you need due inquiry relative to his character and
Yeah.
qualifications. That's some serious vetting. Is
Hmm.
there anything like that in the Law of One? Like, not everyone's ready for these higher spiritual truths, are they?
Well, the Law of One talks about this thing called a harvest,
Okay.
where individuals are assessed for their spiritual readiness to progress.
Hmm.
It's based on their alignment with either service to others or service to self orientations.
I see.
So while everyone has the potential to evolve, their progress depends on the choices they make and the path they choose.
So it's like a cosmic sorting, like identifying those who are ready to move forward on their spiritual journey.
It's an interesting analogy for sure. Both systems seem to acknowledge that while anyone can seek truth, certain qualities like a commitment to morality and self improvement
Yeah.
can help you move
I
faster.
like that. So we're seeing some parallels in
Yeah.
terms of foundations and entry points. But let's get to the fun stuff, symbols. The acacia.
Oh,
This
yeah.
plant pops up everywhere in Freemasonry. I'm kind of obsessed with it.
It's a powerful symbol, right?
It is.
Yeah.
And it's connected to immortality, which is really interesting. The Encyclopedia of Freemasonry says it's a big part of Masonic funeral rites, symbolizing the soul's enduring life.
Hmm. And even ancient Hebrews planted acacia sprigs on graves.
Yeah.
They saw it as a connection between the earthly and the afterlife.
Wow, that's amazing. And here's where it gets really interesting. The Law of One talks about Isis searching for Osiris's body and finding an erica plant nearby, which was later symbolically replaced by, wait for it, the acacia.
Oh, wow.
It's like there's this shared lineage of symbolism
Yeah.
connecting these systems across time and cultures. Totally. Could it be that they're both using the acacia to point towards this higher reality,
Hmm.
one that transcends death and connects us to something bigger?
It's definitely possible. What I find really interesting is that the Law of One specifically mentions the Erica being replaced by the Acacia.
Yeah.
Like maybe the Acacia took on a deeper or more nuanced meaning over time. Makes you wonder how symbols evolve within different traditions, doesn't it?
That's a great question. And it leads us to another core concept in both systems: personal growth and service. The Masonic Monitor calls it the three great duties.
I heard of those.
Every Mason has a duty to God, neighbor, and self.
And they're actually quite specific about these duties, too.
Right. Approaching God with reverence, acting upon the square with your neighbor. I love that phrase, by the way.
Me too.
And avoiding excesses that could harm your ability to do those things. It's like a blueprint for a balanced life.
Yeah. It is. And, it connects with what the Law of One says about service to others being important for spiritual growth. Both systems are saying that true spiritual advancement isn't just about what you know, it's about how you live.
That's a great point. The Monitor even talks about propagating the knowledge of the art,
Mhm.
referring to Freemasonry.
Right.
But maybe we can think of that more broadly,
Yeah.
like it's a call to share any knowledge that helps others, any wisdom that contributes to our collective evolution.
I like that a lot. It fits perfectly with the Law of One's concept of service as a driving force for spiritual evolution. The more we help others, the more we grow ourselves, and the more we help raise the consciousness of humanity.
Like a beautiful cycle of giving and receiving, learning and teaching all intertwined.
Exactly.
And this brings us to another really interesting concept, the architect of the universe.
Oh, yes.
The Masonic Monitor uses this term to symbolize the creator.
Hmm.
the force behind the order and design of the cosmos. It even describes the architect creating the universe with symmetry and order, like a master builder.
And that connects to the law of one's idea of the logos, the creator,
Wow.
as the source of all creation. Both systems emphasize the order and interconnectedness of everything.
So they're both pointing to this unifying principle behind the universe's complexity.
Yeah, like there's this intelligence and intentionality behind it all.
It's almost like we're all part of this huge cosmic design, each playing our own role in the unfolding of creation.
It's a beautiful thought, isn't it?
It is. But before we get too carried away, let's take a break and come back to explore how both Freemasonry and the Law of One can help us on our own paths to truth and understanding.
Welcome back. We're picking up our exploration of Freemasonry and the Law of One, and I'm really interested in this whole architect of the universe thing.
Yeah, me too. Such a cool image, And it ties into that Masonic value of seeking truth.
Right.
The Masonic Monitor talks about how Masons should converse with well-informed brethren to learn more about the craft. It's like they're saying, don't just take our word for it. Go out and find out for yourself.
That's so important, isn't it?
It is.
And the Law of One has that same emphasis on seeking truth.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
It's like a system of knowledge that encourages you to question, to explore, and to come to your own understanding.
So it's not about blind faith.
No, not at all.
It's about using your mind and your heart to find deeper meaning.
Exactly. It's like both systems want you to be an active participant in your own spiritual evolution.
I like that. And the Monitor even suggests that this pursuit of truth should be balanced with action.
Oh, how so?
Well, remember the three great duties.
Oh, yeah. Duty to God, neighbor, and self.
Right. Those duties provide a framework for a virtuous life.
Yeah.
But they also imply that knowledge without action is kind of meaningless.
Like, okay, you've learned about the architect of the universe. Now go out and be a builder yourself.
Exactly.
I love that.
And it connects to what the Law of One says about embodying spiritual principles in everyday life.
It does.
The Monitor talks about acting upon the square, avoiding excesses.
Right.
It's like it's giving us tools to live a better life
Yeah.
and to make the world a better place.
Absolutely. And it's a reminder that real spiritual growth isn't just about knowledge or mystical experiences. It's about integrating those insights into your life.
Transforming yourself from the inside out.
Yeah, exactly.
It's walking the walk, not just talking the talk.
Right.
But let's be real, that's not always easy, is it?
No, it's not. There are so many challenges and distractions in the world.
For sure.
That's where those Masonic rituals and allegories come in.
Oh, yeah. How so?
They're meant to test initiates, to present them with symbolic challenges that reflect the real-world struggles they'll face.
Like a spiritual boot camp.
Exactly. It's preparation for the obstacles on the path to self-mastery.
That makes me think of the Law of One's concept of catalyst.
Oh, yeah. Those experiences that trigger growth.
Yeah, both the good and the bad.
Right. It's not about avoiding challenges, but about learning from them.
Becoming stronger and wiser because of them.
Exactly. And the Masonic Monitor really emphasizes facing those challenges with courage and integrity. Remember, it talks about approaching God with reverence, acting upon the square, and staying true to your moral compass.
Those are powerful principles.
They are.
It's like they give us a way to navigate those tough situations.
Absolutely. They help us align with our values and create a more harmonious existence.
It's about building a strong foundation so we can weather any storm and keep making the world a better place.
I like that. But something that's always intrigued me is how both systems address that duality we see everywhere.
The good and bad, the light and dark.
Exactly. How do we reconcile those things with the pursuit of truth and light?
That's a great question. And it's a question we're going to explore in our next segment. Because understanding how they approach duality is key to understanding how they can guide us in this often imperfect world. Okay, so we're back and ready to tackle this whole duality thing.
Yeah, it's a big one, right? How do we deal with the good and the bad?
Exactly. And the Masonic Monitor kind of lays down the law.
Oh.
It says that Masons should discountenance imposters and all dissenters from the original plan of Masonry.
That's pretty strong.
It is. It's like there's a clear line between those who follow the principles and those who don't.
But how does that fit with the Law of One's message of unconditional love? Is there room for judgment in a path of service to others?
That's a great question. It seems like there might be some conflict there.
Well, the Law of One talks about positive and negative polarities, what it calls service to others and service to self paths.
Right.
It's not about saying people are good or bad, but recognizing that there are different ways of experiencing the Creator and different paths to spiritual growth.
So we're all on our own journeys, and those journeys might look different.
Exactly. And remember, even though the Masonic monitor is strong on its principles, it also encourages respect for those outside the fraternity.
Yeah, it talks about being true to your government and just to your country.
Right.
It's like they're saying, be a good citizen, be respectful of the social order.
And that's where the law of one's idea of harvest is interesting.
How so?
It suggests that we're all responsible for our own choices, and those choices determine our spiritual path. So even though Masons might discountenance some people,
Yeah.
they also recognize that everyone has free will to choose their own way.
So it's about respecting individual choice while still holding on to your own moral compass.
Exactly. And both systems emphasize seeking truth and developing discernment.
Being able to tell the difference between truth and falsehood, right?
Right. And making choices that align with your highest understanding.
And the law of one gives us a framework for that discernment, right?
Yeah.
Aligning with love and light.
It does. And while Freemasonry has its rituals and allegories,
Yeah.
both systems ultimately encourage us to become seekers of truth.
Using our intuition and wisdom to navigate the world.
Exactly. And they both acknowledge that we'll face challenges along the way.
The law of one calls them catalysts.
Right, those experiences that push us to grow.
And Freemasonry prepares initiates for those challenges through its rituals.
It's like they're saying, hey, the world is tough, but you got this.
So it's not about hiding from the darkness.
No.
It's about learning to walk through it.
And becoming stronger because of it.
And the Masonic Monitor gives us some principles to help us do that.
Like approaching God with reverence and acting upon the square.
Like a moral compass to guide us.
Exactly. It's about integrating those values into who you are so they guide your every action.
This has been an incredible deep dive.
It has.
We've covered so much symbols, personal growth, truth duality.
And it's amazing how both Freemasonry and the Law of One, even though they come from such different places, point towards a similar understanding of what it means to be human.
Yeah, they both encourage us to grow, to seek knowledge, to embody our principles, and to make the world a better place.
It's inspiring, isn't it?
It is. Any final thoughts for our listeners today?
Just this. Don't be afraid to explore, to question, to challenge what you think you know, and to find your own truth. There's a whole universe of wisdom out there. Keep an open mind, keep seeking, and keep building a brighter future.
Beautifully said. And to our listener, thank you for joining us on this deep dive. We hope you've enjoyed it and that it's inspired you to keep learning and growing. Until next time, keep seeking, keep questioning, and keep building.